Hi pencil coders. In this video we're going to look at another example of when changing a program to use functions makes it a lot more readable. So let's hop over here to this program called Skyline Confusing, and just for readability I'm going to switch over to text code. Great, so now looking at this code you can see we've got 36 lines of jumbled spaghetti code. What that means is that it's just very difficult to make heads from tails of this, but you know, it actually does work. But instead of running it here, I wanted to show you what a complicated program looks like, and I think now we should just go straight over to the refactored version that has functions, and it makes things a lot clearer. So we've got several functions here. Draw skyline, which is what we're going to ultimately be drawing here. So if we hop back over to the blocks, you can see that this is a function just like we've been defining them. Whenever you switch to code, it's the same thing just without the blocks. So everything will be indented to indicate that it's inside of the function. And you have the name of the function, you have the parameter list, and you have the body, just like before. So the draw skyline loops through. It calls another function, get building positions, with where our skyline is going to start and how wide we want the skyline to go. And then we get a random building width and a random building height, and then we draw a building of that width and height. The draw building function picks some colors, it draws the windows, but the important thing to pick up here is that everything is separated into its own function. There's one function that draws the skyline. Going down a level, we're drawing a single building. On the building, we have a function that's just in charge of drawing the windows, which defers to another function which draws a single window. So we've decomposed our function, or we've broken it up into a lot of smaller pieces. And if you remember, the rule of thumb was to use 10 lines of code or less within each function, and we have succeeded in this program. And then all we have to do to run the program is we set the speed, and then we say draw the skyline starting at -400, which will be somewhere over here, and make the width of it be 700 wide. Let's run this program and see what all this does. So we picked kind of like a lighter color, and then we drew some yellow windows on. This is a gray building, a bluish building. So, and as you'll see, the buildings are spread out randomly, and a lot of times you'll draw a building that obscures a building behind it. Just like a normal city, there's, you know, multiple levels or multiple layers of buildings on the skyline. So this was a really complicated program, but whenever we broke it up into functions, we only had to worry about one particular thing at a time, and that's what made it possible to write in the first place. I actually didn't start out writing that spaghetti code. I started out writing this program with all the functions broken out like this, and then just to make an example, I converted this code into that other program because it would have been very difficult to write it that way. And so there we have it. Our turtle's done, and we have our skyline of different buildings of different shapes and sizes. And while it takes more lines of code, this program is 53 lines of code. It's definitely easier to read and understand what's going on. So I hope that you see the value in functions, and I hope that you are thinking of how in your own programs you can incorporate functions into them.